Okay. Sorry, just give me a minute. It's seeming to take it's seeming to take longer than I want it to take.
It's all right.
Okay. But quick introductions about me. I am a student from FUTA, like he said. I was in Metama department, which means I was in engineering. And one of the key things that some people who knew me for would be the fact that I ran for student union president when I was in 300 level. At the time, I was 19. I I know how there are certain perceptions about students from, let me say, that have a specific type of background, where there's a feeling that if you are, for example, into politics, if you're into some kind of so I'm sharing my screen now, but I just want to know if you can see.
Yeah, we can see it clearly.
Okay, yeah. There's an idea that if you have a certain background, you won't be able to get scholarships, and I hope to debunk that. So he talked about some things that I have done, but the summary of my journey has been: I was in Africa, Nigeria precisely. I moved to Europe when it was in certain countries in Europe, and now I'm in North America, Canada precisely. Now within these countries, there's also been like branches to other places, but like this is the summary of it all. And my footer story um would I would always talk about how I was in the debate club, because being in the debate club helped me a lot to learn about certain things that were applicable in my applications. If you see this picture, you can see our Ogaiwe, Professor Alicia at the back. This was one of the presentations we had in 500 level. So I was in the debate club, I was in politics, I was involved in a lot of different things that people would typically not feel someone like this should get a scholarship, but I did. So you can. In 2020, I got the European scholarship to study in three countries, and this scholarship was worth about 47,000 euros. I think that's like 47 million or so. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyways, I had that scholarship, so I was able to study in three countries. Now, in this during my studies, I kept on volunteering. I kept on contributing to research, and so even while I was in these different countries, I was able to win extra awards, which are like scholarships, recognition that would like improve my career profile, opportunities with like companies, all of these things that can help to, at the end improve your career if you want to stay in academia or if you want to stay in industry. And I think that this is an important aspect. So I'll just now say in Europe, I was in three countries like I'd mentioned. Student European Masters program is focused on people who are in tribology, but then you can do this while you're either in mechanical engineering or from materials engineering. And some people can apply also from chemical engineering. So for my first semester, I was in Leeds, University of Leeds, UK, and then after the first semester, like I spent like 6 months there, I moved to Slovenia for the next semester, and I was there for another 6 months, and then for a year I was in Luleå, Sweden. UK is like very mild with the winter. Slovenia is like a bit worse, but a little bit sunny, and then Luleå is like really dark. So I like to share my experience there because there were some days where we had sunlight 24/7. It was bright 24/7. And some other days where it's so dark, like you do not see the sun for several days. And then after this travels experience, I headed out to Canada to start my PhD. So for me, it was important to have a PhD that was focused on the industry because I wanted to have that industrial experience. And so I also applied again. And this time around, I got another scholarship, one of like, it's a very big scholarship for Canada. And I could now work both with the company and also be doing my PhD. So I would like, I'm what they call an industrial doctoral student. And this semester, I like became a PhD candidate, which means I passed my comprehensive exam, and I'm continuing to like continue my research. In addition to that, I won a really big scholarship which will be announced very soon, and it's a national scholarship from Canadian government, and I'm really proud about this. So this is my journey so far, and I would say the key things that have mattered has been educational experience, leadership, and then of course like interest in research. So thank you.
All right, great. That's a very nice introduction. So of course, like I've sought the advice of our guest speaker. Powerful. That's sorry when I use powerful, I'm talking about power. Akibode Badu. And when I say Shimula, it means Odua Shimula Adelusi and Doctor. So I sought their advice and feel like the best way to go about it to make this conversation more open is to Shimula just do like a brief introduction. However, we're still going to go into an in-depth Q&A. So I would like to pass this mic to Powerful. Badu, can you please share with us your experience?
Yeah, thank you very much. Shionla has set a legacy that some of us are not even prepared for. What a powerful presentation over there. And by the way, you removed 2,000 euro from our scholarship money, which I'm going to which I'm going to be angry about. European Union scholarship, as at the time when we were scholars, was 49,000 euro. I remember 24,000, 1,000 every month, additional 7,000 for traveling allowance, and 18,000 euro for our school fees. So that is 49,000. So in Nigeria currency today, I think that should be around over 50 million naira or thereabout. Anyway, that's just a chick in the tongue, actually. My name is Badu, and just like my brother said, Electro D. For people who are very familiar with me in Futa, if you mention Badu somewhere, it may be difficult for them to associate who is Badu. I am powerfully or popularly referred to as powerful in my Futa days. Uh, I was a student unionist to the core. In Futa, I think student unionism was like my primary assignment in Futa, to be very sincere. Academics was just an addendum. I only attended the academic part just to, okay, at least let us as some B, some C. And I'm not an high flying student, to be very sincere. So I'm not like a typical scholar in the sense like my very other great colleagues. As a matter of fact, in food science and technology, when I graduated in 2017, I was not among the top 15 students in my department. Like academically, I'm not there. So and it's just one of the very good experience that you actually do not need to be uh, probably a first class student to win a scholarship, even though it is the most important requirement, the very most important requirement, just like I used to tell people. But if you are not lucky, just like me, if your undergraduate bachelor's degree is not a very powerful CGPA, that does not actually rule you out. I finished with a CGPA of 3.95 out of 5.0. In FUTA, there is something known as a strong 2-1. So if you understand very well, my CGPA was not a strong 2-1. Strong 2-1 starts from, I think, 4.0 and above. So I managed, in fact, that 3.95, I managed to get it in my final semester because I started with 3.26. I was that unserious with my academics. I started with 3.26 and I had uh, series of CGPA that was very beneath what they assumed or a supposed scholar should always finish with. There was a semester I had 3.3, there was a semester I had 3.4. So those was the grade points I accumulated in the footer. And by the time we met people like Dr. Macaulay, we knew that, oh, scholarship, so we should be serious with this academics. That was in 400 level second semester, and that was how I managed in my 500 level. Some Yoruba will say Epa Oboromo, although later on Epa Shiboro actually anyway. And that was how I summoned the courage to write those last 2 semesters. I wrote some very powerful grade point, and that was what catapulted it to 3.95. So I'm not uh, a supposed scholar right from my days. In fact, let me say I'm an accidental one actually. Yeah, I used to call myself an accidental scholar because there's no way you will know me in Futa and you will want to associate politics with me. No, the very first thing you will see with me is student unionism. My friend is the general secretary of the student union. My roommate is the treasurer of the student union. My other roommate is the chairman BFC of the Student Representative Council. I was the president of my department. So most of my life was spent in SUB, not in the classroom at all. I love mentioning that so much. In 2021, I Well, my story changed. I will always associate my story with Dr. Macaulay so much, so much. I respect this man a lot. I so much respect him. In the days of Facebook, there is something known as the shoulders of giants. Then I attended one of Dr. Macaulay's section. He came to Nigeria very briefly, and we met at Chicken Republic. That was 2017 while I was writing my final years, and that was the first time we met. We discussed, and he showed the samples, he showed workings, how possible it is, what you need to do if your academic standing is not that okay. And luckily for me, I went to a polytechnic before coming to FUTA. So I ensured I did my national youth service at the Polytechnic Ibadan, known now as the Okiogun Polytechnic Shaki. And that was where the beginning of my interest in academics started. So I was a lecturer for a period of 2 or 3 years. I managed to supervise some students. I had students under me. I was serious with those theses, with those their theses, wrote some wonderful theses and published all of them. And within a space of 2 years, between 2018, while I was a lecturer, 2021, when I won the scholarship, that's like 3 or thereabouts, I had already had like 10 publications, 10 research publications, very powerful one, solid one, international journals of repute, SFA, quality ones for that matter. And with that, I was able to augment my supposed very low CGPA, a very, very low one. Maybe I'm not so proud to say it, but uh, and well, with other things, with research experiences, uh, with my curriculum vitae, even with that, I still received so many rejections, just like Dr. Macaulay said. In total, I think I received 24 scholarship rejections in Africa, North America, Europe, and so to say. And by March 31st, 2021, that was a day I can never forget. I received that powerful email from the European Union. I was crying. I couldn't believe it. I probably almost giving up, even though I don't think I will have given up. I used to say that if I don't receive that scholarship in 2021, I will still continue to apply. I, I, I really don't know, but I know definitely I will win it one day. I am not as rich as my friend Electro D. There is no way somebody like me can ever in my life. I don't think it is important. It is possible actually to have 15,000 pounds to self-sponsor myself. I was a very poor boy. My salary in Nigeria as at September 2021 before leaving was 48,250 naira. So am I going to be able to afford 10,000 or 15,000 pounds to be able to afford an education in the UK or Europe? It's not possible. So this scholarship is just my way. Uh, I attended University of Barcelona, where I read quality management system in Spain. I also attended Dansk University of Technology, where I graduated in analytical chemistry. So I've done 3 master's degree, and in a switch of chain, from graduating with a 3.95 CGPA, I had distinction in all my 3 MSc, from the one I did in Nigeria to the one I did in Europe. In 2023, that was last year, I gained a PhD scholarship to the University of Western Ontario in Canada for my PhD studies. However, in a switch of chain, a month or 2 months afterward, I I received a job offer from a very leading, fast-moving consumer goods in Europe with their headquarters in Warsaw, Poland here, and a very difficult decision to make. It's a supply chain role. I ditched or rejected the PhD scholarship in Canada. Some people may say it's a stupid decision. So I'm presently a 9 to 5, and to an extent for now, I'm putting a stop to my academic life to working professionally. I think that is a brief about me. I don't know if I've talking or spoken so
That's not
much. My apology for that.
that's not different. So you throw stuff straight bullet at me, but I will reply you at the appropriate time. Thank you very much. That's not brief, anyways. Thank you very much for that wonderful brief balance given to conversation from Shinola. And I'm always saying that you're not always ashamed to say that you're from Igbora. All right. Thank you very much for that. And talking about you dishing when you announced on public domain that you are pausing your academic journey for now, some of us called you like, why are you Papilo? You are Papilo now. I said you make us proud, so continue. But anyway, I understand that decision on a personal note, and we look forward to having more of you on other bigger scales. Right? So right about now, there's a Yoruba proverb that says, I'm sorry to use to I'm not undermining the previous speakers anyway, but there's a Yoruba proverb that says that the biggest masquerade should come at the last. But I'm not saying you guys are not big. Please pardon my manners. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's listen. I know Dr. Newton's journey will be very long. Sir, can you give us a journey for the past 3 years? Thank you very much.
Okay, the 3 years will not make justice. What I'll do is I will just compress my last 14 years. Let me compress my last 14 years into 3 minutes, I would say. That's a hard job, but I'll try. Okay, so I got into full-time in 2005. Okay, that's after I survived 4 UTMEs. Okay, we did not put T during my time, it's UMEs. I wrote it 4 times. A number of you might not know that. So I am not a genius. Let me put it out there. I'm not a genius. If I am a genius, why will I write UME 4 times? So, but like my friend who said, you know, he had 3.9, but now had distinctions all through. You know, there's a point you get to in your life that you just wake up. So that's what happened to me. I woke up and eventually graduated with the first class in biology, FUTA. Now, FUTA decided me, and I accepted the offer because I love teaching and research, not because I didn't find a job. So let's put that. I loved teaching and research, so I accepted the job. First task was, you know, when they take you as a GA, they tell you instantly, within 2 years, you must get your master's, because technically, by NUC rule, you can't even be a lecturer if you don't have a master's. So the GA-ship is just to help you. Maybe because you are smart and they like you and they want you to get into the system faster. So they give you the GA and tell you in 2 years, get your master's. So my 2 years began to count now. And I started asking myself, where will I do it? Abroad. So I applied 25 applications in 1 year. I'm happy that Badu said if he didn't win when he won, he would have continued to apply. That was the spirit I had to. I was just applying. Once I see the application, I apply. Once I see an announcement, I apply. That I was just applying. I will tell you something about that because that's not the best approach. Okay, and that's why I got a lot of rejections. So, okay, yes, I'll do my best to finish before this time goes up so that we can move, or maybe we can restart. Abby, D, is that what we should do?
Yeah, no, I will send it. I will send the meeting link now. I'll just do it from my hand here. I'll send the meeting link to the chat room. Thank you, sir. We can just go ahead. So I'll send the meeting link now, like now.
All right then. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So I started applying and I ended up submitting 25 applications. And of the 25, I lost 23. Badu is saying that he lost 24. Well, his own is worse because he lost the 24 over years. Me, I lost the 23 in 1 year. Which one is worse? I did 25. I lost 23 in 1 year. Okay. Now, because of so many that I had done, I forgot about the 24th and the 25th. So as my phone will buzz and it will be, we regret to inform you, I just go used to it. So anytime it comes, it's breakfast. We regret it. That's me that graduated with the first class. I was also very political in school. Most of my time were spent in SUB because I was a member of the SRC. I was an electoral chairman of my department and of my faculty, SOS at the time, the biggest school in FUTA. So I held a whole lot of political. I was very political to the point that on convocation, when they called my name for first class, people in SUG with me were like, so this stupid boy made the first class. How? Because I was always in SUB. Okay. But somehow I just had a balanced life somehow. So with the first class, I was still chopping breakfast. And I forgot 24 and 25th. So one hot day in Akure, I was walking through State Line Road going to Bola International on foot. My phone just rang, prang, 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 because the day that God will bless you, it will be like a normal day, very normal, until something abnormal happens. Then your life will just change forever. I took my phone and I realized that I had won the London Metropolitan University Scholarship, LMU. Now, apparently, Nigerians have never won that scholarship since the 5 years of its existence. Okay, so the year I won it in 2012, 2 Nigerians won it, myself and one guy from Unilag. So because of the fact that that was the first time we will ever win, and then 2 of us, these guys decided that they will come to Nigeria to honor us. So they traveled down to Lagos, and then the honor was done at Potia Hotel, VI. That was the first time I won an international scholarship ever. So they presented me with an award. They called the press, they called commissioners from Lagos. The problem with this scholarship, however, is that it's not full. It just covers my tuition. I still need to pay for my living expenses, accommodation, and flight, everything at the time in the tune of 3.2 million, which I did not have. I'm from the trenches of Lagos. I didn't have that money. That's too big. So I was worried. So I shared with one of the white guys that came from the school. And the guy said, okay, Shebi, you say you are from LAG. I said, yes, let's talk to the commissioner for science and technology. So he called the man. And I discussed with him. And the man said, okay, we'll talk to Fashola. So I wrote a letter to Fashola. And months later, I got a response. I was even surprised because I thought he would probably be too busy to respond to an unknown. Okay, and I found myself in London, and then I had my master's in sustainable environmental management at the University of Greenwich. And then I returned to FUTA because, of course, I'm a staff and I had signed a bond. As many people like to run away, I have a conscience. I didn't do so. I came back because I signed a bond, and there were professors who actually stood in for me. So I also had a father that if I even attempted to run, he would disown me. I had a father that would tell you, did you not sign a bond? What are you doing abroad? You better get back here. Okay, so I was raised in that kind of a home where the value system was everything. Okay, and yes, I came back. And then after 2 years, I got my PhD. But don't let me bore you with the story, because to win the PhD was even harder for me. It was harder. That's why, as I was listening to Akin Body say, oh, rejection, I said, do you know how many I've see, in total, my rejections have been about 75, and I've won 13 in my lifetime. So when you do the math, you will discover that the success rate is very low. The success rate is low. But what they will tell you on social media is, I've won 13. This guy is amazing. 13 scholarships. But I've lost 75. So take note of that. So to those of you that want to apply, getting a rejection is very normal in this game. As a matter of fact, last night I got a rejection. When I saw it, I was laughing because I applied for an opportunity for something. And then the message came last night and it was a rejection. And I was just laughing. Yeah, because I've gotten used to it. It's normal. I'll try again. So after my PhD in Manchester, which I did in environmental geochemistry and geomicrobiology at the University of Manchester, I came back in 2019. And then I returned to FUTA 2019. And then I told myself I was going to become that mentor that I never had. Okay. One of the reasons why I suffered that much was because I didn't have a mentor. I didn't need 25 applications. I did not. Many things were wrong, but because I was doing them on my own. That's why sometimes you need a mentor. Today, the people that I groom, they don't do more than 4. More than 4, and they've won. Because now it's not sporadic. Now it's strategy. Strategic, not a sporadic approach. Because my approach then was sporadic. Just try everything. But now I learned the skill, which is there is a strategic approach that You are still going to get some rejections, but within 4 or 5, then you win. So I created Illumina in order to be able to serve, the young ones, students, graduates, and business professionals. And in the last 5 years, we've helped close to 260 people, just as he read in my profile. And I got a number of awards for it. To crown it up, the BBC called me one day. I was just sitting down, JJ in Futao. I just received a phone call. You are from the BBC. I say, so what happened? They said, we've been seeing your activities and we've been seeing what you are doing, because that interview I did with the BBC that came out yesterday, that interview happened. Such an interview only happens when they find you. You can't go and meet them. They will find you, one, then they do an investigation on you, then they send everything to BBC UK, the editorial team. They will now do background check on you because they don't want to tell a story of somebody that will mess them up. Okay, so a whole lot went into it before it turned out into that interview you saw for 3 minutes. So watching that interview myself just makes me feel fulfilled for coming back. Okay, because a lot of questions. See, the FAQ I've ever answered in my entire life is why did you come back? Some people think I'm stupid, that I'm still in FUTA. And then they would say that you deserve more than FUTA. I said that is arrogance. How can I be more than a whole institution? I am the one benefiting from FUTA, in case some of you don't know this truth, because their scholarships have won. The moment I just say I am a lecturer in FUTA, and they Google FUTA and they see that FUTA is a top school. Let me give you a good example. The MBA I just completed, I got it on scholarship. They interviewed me on Zoom, white guys, and they said, you're a lecturer, why do you need an MBA? I said, I'm running this startup, but I have the technical skills. People are winning scholarships, but I feel that it's not growing well enough because I lack the business skills. So they said, okay. But we see that you are a lecturer in a university, and they Googled, as they were talking to me, they just Googled everything. Very good university, but you look so young. I said, well, they took me so young. And the conversation changed. I applied for MBA. They said, based on the more than 10 years you spent in FUTA, we will offer you executive MBA instead. So they changed my application to executive MBA and offered me £10,000 because $10,000 because they realize I'm in a university. When you work in a university, it is a fertile ground to birth greatness. So it is not so FUTA is not using me. In fact, as a matter of fact, now me, they use the school. Okay, so let me just end my talk here by saying that it's been one hell of a journey that started in 2010 after I graduated. So it's been 14 years of so much that has happened to me, and I am grateful to God. Okay, I am grateful to God for what He's been able to help me do. Because some people come back to the country and their story is not as nice as mine. So I understand that I've enjoyed the grace of God in many ways. So thanks again for having me.
All right, thank you very much. Like I knew it to not be brief. When we are dealing with teachers, I know it's like that. All right, so thank you very much. Like I said, we've been following for the days since the days of Facebook, like I said, and I know how passionate you are about these things. So now, my dearly beloved audience, we don't want to be too formal, like first slide, second slide, third slide. That is why we've gone in this manner, and you can see that Shionda did like a brief introduction. Akinbody also did similar, and Dr. Babajide has also given like a general overview of his experience and all of those stuff. So at this point, it's actually a Q&A. We're going to leave the floor open. If you can use the mic where you are, if you should assure that the background is good enough to satisfy the audience, please ask your question. If there are questions that the participant or the guest think it will not be good public consumption, they can at their own will ask you to reach out to them privately. So please, if you can use the chat room, is also open for you to ask your question. And for people that are joining the session late, don't worry, we'll have the meeting recorded. You can actually get it later on. All right, so let's get started. Who have any question? Peradventure, you're probably on a journey and you feel like you're at crossroad, or you think you need mentorship or you need resources. The floor is open for you to ask your question. And please just, all right, thank you very much. You can raise up your hand. I can see Solomon. Okay, I can see a couple of people raising up their hand at this point. All right, thank you for that. Why you and ask you to speak. Is that okay? Thank you. So, and the first person that raised up his hand is Mr. Solomon. Hi, Solomon. Can you please unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, loud and clear. Thank you.
That's Dr. Macaulay, powerful and.
Can you speak up a bit, Solomon, if you don't mind, please?
Okay. Hosting this webinar. Can you hear me well now?
Hi, Solomon. Can you please speak up a bit, please?
Can you hear me properly now?
Hello?
Hear me now?
All right, I might have to mute that call. All right, let me take Ogundino Emmanuel. Please unmute yourself, Ogundino Emmanuel. While I wait to get clarity on people that are raising up their hand, we've got some question, and I'll be throwing it at different some of our speakers to answer them at appropriate. How vital is work experience in the application for a master's degree, most especially the Erasmus Mundo? So I would like to throw that open to work experience. Let's throw it to Shiola, please.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing I would like you to know is that there are different groups of scholarships that I like to see. I always categorize scholarships based on what they are looking for. Scholarships that are looking for leadership experience, like Chevening Commonwealth. Scholarships that are focused on work experience, like the Swedish scholarship. Erasmus scholarships are primarily focused on research plus merit, like academic excellence and research. So if that is the focus of that program, most of what you need to have to be in line with showing your academic experience, showing your research experience. Now, when I applied for Erasmus, I had 1 year work experience working with Innocent Vehicles. I had 1 year of running my business in Inewi, Anambra State. I also had my internship experience. But there are other people who had just graduated who applied and got in, which means they didn't have as much work experience as I had, which was pretty much minimal. The reason is because when you're applying, there are points for everything. So professional experience in general may have like 10 points. Your SOP may have like 40 points. Your CV may have like 20 points. Your grades may have like 50 points. So depending on all those points, the amount of things that you have that fit into those criteria determine how many points you have. So it may not be compulsory. Like having work experience may not be a requirement. But if there is a corner for professional experience and you have some work experience that relates, it may give you some more points. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shiola. I hope your question is clear. However, I've actually asked our speakers to drop the best method of reaching out to them. And if I've gotten a response, I will let you know via the chat room. Thank you very much for that response, Shiola. Right. So, Solomon, are you ready now? Can you speak now, please?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Very clear. Thank you.
Very much. All right. My question is based on I graduated from Food Science and Technology. I know Powerful very well because when I was in 100 department at that time. So I applied for an Erasmus program instead, but then I applied for another one last year, and I did not even get. So I don't really know, because the first time I applied, I thought it was my SO. I tried as much as possible to improve my SOP, did everything I could. So progress of not getting scholarship, because the first time, so I don't really know what could be wrong.
All right, thank you very much. That's like you need an explanation on that. Let's allow Dr. Babajide to take that. Dr. Milton, it seems to be on crossroads
To
as
be,
regards to scholarship here.
to be honest, I didn't really get his question because he was breaking. His voice was breaking. I think he tried to apply twice. He tried the first time, then the second time he wasn't shortlisted. So I'm not really sure
Yeah,
of the
he didn't get
question.
selected both times, and he wanted to know, I think, if it
Why? He wants
thought
to
it
know
was his
why.
SOP. Yeah, he wants to know why.
Okay, so let me say this. Let me say this. There are times, from my experience, there are times that there is nothing wrong with you. Okay? It is the quality of applications that year for that cohort. If there is somebody else that the quality is just better than your own, there is no magic. You want some of us to perform magic. Look, we are no magicians. You want us to perform magic on your profile? No, we are not magicians. So the thing is this, there are some years. That's why I used to tell people, never stop trying. And I will explain. Your situation might be 2021 when you applied, when they ranked you based on the quality of your profile. You were in number 7, but they wanted to pick top 5. So they picked the top 5 and they didn't choose you. By the time they get to 2022, based on the quality of applications that year, you can move up to number 3 because it is year by year and the quality of the applications per year. That's how these things work. And your time will come eventually. By the time you move up and you are now in number 3, you just say, hey, they picked me in 2022. That's because that year, your quality has moved up because the qualities change per year. So if you don't give up and you continue to improve on the profile or the quality of what you submit every year, eventually you're going to get there. So it might not even be something with your SOP or something with your work experience. It can just be quality. That's all. Okay? Because there are times when, so I was fortunate to be somewhere. I don't want to share so much information, but I was somewhere. They wanted to pick PhD scholarships. It was in Manchester. So I found myself somewhere and I saw they wanted to pick, and I was there. And I saw the mechanisms that went into selecting a winner. Do you know that there was a time that they shortlisted everybody to 10 and they just wanted 2 people and they shortlisted 10. Then they told them to come to Manchester for an interview. Those that couldn't come, they did Skype interview. Back then it was Skype. So they did Skype interview. Guess what happened? Guess what happened? When they finished, they had 5. They had 5 left that were so good and they wanted 2. Do you know how they picked the 2? I think it was no longer the application again. It was just perception. I think I was there just looking at them like I was not in the room. And that opened my eyes to many things. For you to win a scholarship, so much goes into divine intervention. Trust me. Sometimes it's not just how good your application is. The last decision could just be, the man would just say, I feel like, let's just give it to Sheunla. I feel like, I just like her. Can you see? Nobody is talking about her CGPA anymore. Nobody is talking about what is inside her SOP. Because the last 5, everybody is now on equal playing field. It's now perception. So, my dear, my best answer to you is try again and keep your fingers crossed.
All right.
So that's
Thank you
it.
very much for that, Doctor. Before we move on to the next phase of questions, sorry, I can see people raising up their hand. I will attend to you in a minute. So somebody asked a question on via the chat room. Temitope said, how do I apply for a PhD scholarship, especially if I do my masters in Nigeria, I would like Powerful to attend to that because he did his masters in Nigeria and he still got PhD scholarship. That's a bit deep, but I think Powerful. Do you want to say something about that?
One thing I want you to understand, especially if this Halade Suyi Temitope is somebody I know, all of us had our degrees in Nigeria before winning the very first scholarship we had in our life. I mean, that is where you studied, and definitely it is the certificate you have, and it doesn't even matter. I really do not personally believe it has to do with the quality of where you do your first degree or master's degree. It is what is in your profile. So whether you do your first degree in United Kingdom or you do it at Adekunle Ajasin University, I really don't think that really matters. What is the content? What is the profile? What is in your CGPA? What is in your transcript? What are the courses you do during your transcript? Those are the things they will evaluate. Very few scholarship in the world look at the quality of probably you graduated from University of Barcelona or thereabouts. And like I just rightly mentioned, we all finished from FUTA, and I want to believe you're an alumnus of FUTA also. So it was that very first FUTA degree, irrespective of the class of degree. Like I told you, I had my first degree in FUTA with a 3.95 CGP, and that was what I used to win a scholarship. It is the same thing with Dr. Macaulay. It was FUTA academic transcript that he won his first. And even if he did not do that master's degree at the University of Greenwich, if you do it probably at the University of Ibadan, that does not mean he will not get a PhD outside the country. So forget about whether you do your first degree or your master's in Nigeria. Polish your CV, polish your profile. Definitely, there's nothing you can polish about your transcript. What you graduated with is what you graduated with. So that's the only thing that you cannot. There is no way you can polish that anymore. But your profile can definitely be polished, and you have equal chances of winning a PhD scholarship, same way somebody who graduated from the University of Leeds in the United Kingdom. If you have a better profile, they will not say because he graduated from University of Leeds, they will consider him first, except it is an inside scholarship, probably that same school, or probably is applying to the same department or the same professor, and that person already knows him or her and want to use that leverage. But without that, you have equal chance. So don't limit yourself that, okay, maybe it is people who graduated from master's degree overseas that have better chance. No, you have equal opportunity with them. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Powerful, for that.
Can you permit me to add to what he said, please?
That's fine, sir.
Okay. Now, there is a guy called Victor Awosiji, aka Papillon. He graduated, he studied applied geology from FUTA. He used to be my mentee, but now we know they talk again. Now, big boy. Victor is in Stanford. He moved from FUTA to Stanford. You can Google his name. Okay, so if you're on this call and for a reason I don't understand, you are feeling less of yourself because you finished with a degree in Nigeria, I don't understand. Because just think about Victor Awosiji. Okay, Papillon, that's what they call him, because he was the faculty president of SEMS. So he was also political, but he made the first class. And as I speak to you, his application, now my office in FUTA, we do him. Okay? And he's in Stanford today. He just recently won his PhD to continue because he got a master's. Now he started his PhD. That's one example. Second example, when I was doing my PhD in UK, I wanted to work with Pearson UK. Pearson is the company that actually marks their WAEC, like the WAEC is the company that marks all of that in the UK. So I wanted to work with them. And they said specifically, submit only your bachelor's certificate. Like you, I started feeling low of myself that it's FUTA that is there. They may not take me. But because I knew I had the master's from UK, do you know what I did? I got there, then I put the masters of UK on top of the FUTA one. Then I gave them. The woman took it and looked and said, "You don't need your masters. We need your bachelors." And I'm like, it's because it's in Nigeria. It doesn't matter. It's a bachelor's. Okay. That day I looked stupid. She said it's a bachelor's. Then what caught her eye was, oh, it's first class. That's amazing. I got the job. So what am I saying? There's a tendency for you to feel that it's Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with being Nigeria. As a matter of fact, the world knows we are very smart people. The world knows that Nigerians are very smart people. That's the truth. Then number two, you are a Futarian, Haba, Futa product. Don't fall my hand, though. Okay, so that's it.
Sheila, you want to say something?
I really like what Dr. Milton said, because that's like key. You have to have that bragging spirit, and Badu knows it. It does not matter where you come from. But what I just wanted to add to that, the how to apply for PhD scholarships if you do your masters in Nigeria. Number one, go to the PG school, get your transcript. Get your transcript for the PG school, get your transcript for exams and records, and go to exam and record, get your bachelor's transcript. Merge your bachelor's transcript. You may have to merge it, you may not, but just get the two. Get your certificate for your master's, get your certificate for your bachelor's. Have everything in hand. If you have done any research during your master's or you did anything in your bachelor's and you did your thesis, if you have not published it yet, reach out to your supervisors. Try to see how you can make some publications. Try to see how you can attend some conferences, even in Nigeria. For some of this stuff, you have to use your money. For some of this is just online. You don't have to spend money. For some of this, your supervisor is willing, because your supervisor would also want to see his name on publications. So when you're ready to write and publish papers, because Badi talked about how you publish how many papers, even myself, I'm not even near there. So these are things that I would advise you to do all these things. When you've gotten your documents ready, while you're still working on papers, start to do what they call cold emailing. Go online, LinkedIn, Twitter, and then maybe just regular searching on Google to find out PhD scholarships. So you can look for PhD scholarships like Europe. There's in Euraccess. I'll type it out. Euraccess. You can see different openings for PhD scholarships in Europe. Go to university websites also in certain countries. You'll see different PhD scholarships that they have. The UK also has. If you're someone who is you want to look for plenty money, look for the places that have the most money. Europe gives you a lot of money for PhDs. And Canada, they don't really pay PhDs that much unless you have a very big scholarship, which I'm very lucky to have. So look for the place that will give you a lot of money. Look for places that are searching. Go to LinkedIn. You will see people who are posting about where you studied in. Send them cold emails. So you want to learn how to send cold emails? Google it. Don't just copy and paste. When you start doing all these things, this is the how to find PhD scholarships. You search. Someone cold email like Dr. Nipo. Send them cold emails. Apply. Don't stop applying. Refine your application. Never copy and paste. Don't take anybody's template and just go and use it. Write your own story. That's how I did mine. Merci.
All right. Thank you very much. I would not be surprised if you are speaking more than 5 languages when you said merci. All right. So people are raising up their hand. However, there are some people asking some very sensitive questions on the chat room. But I would like to attend to Ogundinro Michael. Can you speak where you are, Michael? Ogundinro Michael, you are raising up your hand.
Okay. Easily understand.
Loud and clear, please. Yes, loud and clear.
Okay.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael. Graduate of my name is Liam. And
For you to know,
I've been applying when I graduated 2021. And one thing I want to ask is, how can you attract a mentor in your scholarship application? I see that this journey has been only me. I do my stuff myself and maybe send my recipes to friends. But I believe that me having someone who has done ahead of me will be a plus. Also, in the process of waiting, how can you your application like the process of getting scholarship? What do you think someone can do to also improve his application quality? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that question. Dr. Amit, can you note that question? Come again, sorry.
But when it comes to investments,
Michael, can you take a minute? Let me just mute.
Which is thinking. This is
Oh, that's fine. So, Dr. Milton, please know that question. While
Yes.
while we wait for a response, some people have been messaging personally and
Okay.
even in the chat that they'd like to get connected with you. So, I will share Dr. Milton's LinkedIn profile to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it's a very good space to reach out to him. He actually do respond to messages. Please just do well to reach out to him. I will send this LinkedIn link very soon. However, because I know some lecturers on this call, somebody asked a question. Say, please, what can I do concerning recommendation letter? Because my academic referees were not writing well for me. Powerful, can you share your experience in that regard? And let Dr. who's a lecturer now wrap it up.
Yeah. I think that is good. Dr. Meeting was my recommender for so many years. He wrote quite a couple of recommendation letter for me. In fact, some of them are in my archive. There is no way I can lose it. No way, actually. It is right there in my archive. And for that very question, I think your relationship first with your recommenders matters. And for those of you who are undergraduate students, I will always advise you cultivate a very good relationship with at least two of your professors. And the very first point of call for me most times is your supervisor. There is no reason for you to be at loggerheads with your supervisor at all. And yes, I don't want to use that language. I can understand that not every lecturers have a very good, not all of them can write very, very well. I've seen some quite couple of recommendation letters from professors of 20, 10, 15 years that are a little bit analog. I really don't want to use that language. I'm so sorry for using that language. And when you see it, most times they copy and paste the same recommendation letter for 10, 20 people, and you just even there is no way, even you yourself that are applying for that application, if you see that recommendation letter yourself, you will not grant yourself that scholarship. You will not. You should be very sincere with that. And one of the ways you can do this in every department, I am so sure if you put your ear to the ground, there are at least 3 of those lecturers that are very good at writing it. In FST, I know. If you ask me that in FST, which lecturer do you think I can meet to write my recommendation letter, I can mention five good lecturers, despite graduating from that department for a very long time. So note those lecturers, especially the ones that had 1 or 2 of their degrees outside Nigeria. They know a little bit of what is required. In fact, not a little. They know very big deal about what is required. Look for lecturers that had 1 or 2 of their degrees outside the shores of Nigeria. Those ones have taken scholarship to a very good length, and they know that the scholarship doesn't need to have a particular template, just one template for every lecturer. And one thing I always advise is send your CV first. Dr. Macaulay used to do this before writing a recommendation letter for you. He will ask you to send your CV first. So if you send your CV, your profile, he will write that recommendation letter based on your profile. He will send it back to you for you yourself to review or see to it. After seeing it, if there is any other thing you think he can add to it, he will add it again and then send that recommendation letter. Very perfect template. It will not be a recommendation letter. Recommendation letter itself is a job, but I understand that not all lecturers like putting it such job, and it can be very stressful for those of them, especially they are writing recommendation letter for 20, 30, 40 students at the same time. So cultivate a very good habit. Number 1, with your professors, have a very good relationship with them. If you know they really do not they are not very good with writing it, look for those ones who have had 1 or 2 of their degrees outside the shores of Nigeria. Those ones to a very good extent, they know better. And if possible, there are some scholarship that we ask you yourself to upload that recommendation letter after that professor has written it for you. They have to send it to you and you upload yourself. If you are privy to reading it, if there is something the professor do not add in your profile, you can kindly and politely tell him that I still have some of these things. I still have some of these things. I think you can still add it. You have to be very polite with it. No way you can be rude. No way. Like, it's your first relationship with your lecturers. Some of you graduate from university and think you don't have any good thing or any good relationship to have with those professors again. You are very wrong if you are thinking in that way. If you are looking for scholarship, in fact, even after you get that scholarship, you still need to maintain that relationship with them. It is a continuum process. a very good continuum process. I think these are little things I can say about it. Dr. Macaulay as a lecturer and somebody who has many recommendation letter for people, including my very humble self. I think he can know
Thank you.
better.
Sir, before Dr. Macaulay coming now, somebody has been raising up his hand for a long time, and to be very unfair of me if I didn't attend to him. Musa Ibrahim, can you speak, please?
Hello, good evening. Good afternoon, sir. It's a pleasure to be on the call. Thank you very much for the amazing presentations since morning. Actually, my question goes to Dr. Babajide. I've asked the question initially, but there was no much time then to get enough clarification. It's regarding the work experience, the professional work experience. So in 2021, when I got a whole lot of information and kickstarted my journey, I was working on non-communicable diseases. But that time I didn't had enough information. There was no needs assessment before venting into non-communicable disease. On a long run, I discovered that the topic is not very it's not very needed in the community I am. And secondly, when I was researching the website of my dream university, I discovered that most of the coordinators of the course that I am targeting focus on maternal, reproductive, sexual, child health. Around all of their research interests is around there, and most of them studied that, that's their area of interest. And when I did my needs assessment in my community, I discovered that it is a very there are a lot of problems in that area that need intervention. So I now switched from non-communicable disease to maternal health and all of that, and I've started working on it. So, and also I've included that into my research interests, and most of the researches I've been working on are on maternal reproductive and all of that. So that's why I need more clarification and guidance on the best way to go about it, sir.
All right, thank you very much for that clarification on Musa Ibrahim. All right, sir. Dr. Milton, over to you.
Yeah.
If you have any question, let's drop it on the chat room. We are limited time, so we can just know the number of people that want to ask their question and see if the speakers can take them one at a time, once and for all. Thank you.
All right. So Musa, you're already on the right path. I like the fact that you are doing some critical analysis of what you're doing. So you are looking at the developmental needs of your environment and how to best, intervene. So you're already on the right path. And the fact that you've moved from, although I disagree with you that non-communicable disease is probably not important, but I like what you said, in your environment. So maybe where you are, that community, maternal health is the issue. Maybe because the mothers die, the pregnant moms have issues before they give birth. So if that's what is rampant there in your environment, then it makes sense that that's what you want to do. But there are some other places you get, especially urban populations. Non-communicable disease is the issue in urban communications, obviously, right? So, but I like the fact that you've critically assessed what you should do and you've come up with a solution. So all you need to do now is to gain some experience in maternal health. That's all, and then apply in that line. So you are. I think you are on my training, Musa. Are you on my training? Because that name, Musa Ibrahim, I think you are on my training. Are you on my training? Musa, are you with me?
Musa, you are muted.
Yeah, you are muted, exactly.
Musa, you muted and unmuted again and muted yourself again. Please check. I think okay, but I think yes,
has been fluctuating, and I've not heard from A to Z. I've not heard anything.
Oh wow!
Don't
But I
worry,
just want to
the
ask.
meeting is recorded. Don't worry, we get the link. Don't worry.
Yes. But I just want to ask: are you on the April Scholarship Accelerator program?
Yes, sir. I am on it.
Because your name, I just saw that name and it was just ringing bell. See, don't worry. Let's take our thing to our meeting. I will answer all your questions there. Don't worry. We'll sort it out. Now, let me come back to reference. Reference. Truth of the matter is this. Students have a behavior. I don't know whether I should blame them or I should blame the lecturers. But students have a behavior. The behavior is the moment you mention lecturer, they just start acting weird. They don't want to get close. They don't want to familiarize themselves with them. They just want to come to class, hide their head, do their thing, and run away. Is that a bad thing? Not entirely. If that's what you want to do, do it. But as you graduate, just disappear. But if you know that you are going to need them tomorrow, that is the worst way to live your life on campus. You must learn to socialize with your teachers. They are not animals. They are not. I understand that some of them might be very difficult to approach, but for God's sake, that's not the only one. They are not the only one in your department. So the ones you want to avoid. The ones that are approachable and nice. Why are you not their friends? Because when I was applying, I'll be honest on this call. Okay? When I was applying, my project supervisor and myself, because of the way we were, it was a difficult relationship. I didn't want to go back to her. She's not a staff of FUTA anymore. Anyway. But I didn't want to go back to her. So, but you would have thought that my supervisor should have been the first person. But I didn't want to because the relationship we had was a rocky one. I didn't want to. So what did I do? I had other lecturers because I have a very good relationship with my lecturers. The person who wrote me my reference letter for my Commonwealth application for masters is a Mr., not even a PhD holder. Some of you start chasing professors by force. Do you know that many of them may not have time? And it's not because they don't want to write it. They are just busy. So what's wrong with the PhDs and the Mr.? You say no. It was a Mr. I don't want to mention his name, but it was a Mr. that wrote my reference for me, and he did a fantastic job. And guess what? He did not travel abroad at all. So even though I understand Badiu's position that someone who has traveled abroad should be able to write you, but this man, he has not traveled abroad. All his degrees in Nigeria. But there is something about him. He is very smart. Why I chose him is that he is very current. So if I'm to talk to you to advise you about choosing a referee, choose a current, someone who is current. It doesn't matter whether they studied abroad or they don't study. If they are current, they will know how to do things. So can you find yourself a lecturer, number one, that you have a good relationship with? Number two, that is current. Number three, if you Google his name, something will come out. There are some people, when you Google their names, okay, don't let me go that far before I put myself in trouble. Okay, now, when they Google their name, something should come out. And then lastly, that have your time. They must just have your time. If not, there will be problem. And I have a friend who said, I'm a friend of the VC. The VC is my friend, not the current one, but a VC of the past. Is my friend. Went to go and write the VC's name for reference. And the person also said, that is okay, that is okay. When it was now time to write the reference, hey, this guy was climbing the mountain to pray for VC. It is a terrible choice. Do you know why? That's the vice chancellor. Your case will be number 35 on the list because there are other issues that this vice chancellor needs to deal with. So be wise in the way you choose referees. Now, a reference letter is a confidential document. Take note. It's not a must that you have to see it. In fact, as a matter of fact, you have no business seeing it. You have no business seeing the content. It's a confidential document that should be written by the referee. It has nothing to do with you. If a referee decides to show you, it is from his good mind, though. It's from his good mind. And all my referees, from day one to this day, they always show me. And it depends on the kind of relationship you have with them. And that's why I adopted the same thing. So Baji was right when he said, I will show you. When I write you, I will show you. I'll say, is it okay? Do you want me to put some salt and pepper? Because I know that they grade references. Okay? It has a score. They grade references. And many of you trivialize it. So what you do wrong is you just pick any important person big and you just put the name. No, don't do that. What you should rather do is check. Does this person have time? Is this person current? Does this person know me? Is this person? Now, let me give you one trick. If it's a person that is social online, that person is likely to be checking emails every time. Sure, you see where I'm going. If it's somebody that is not very social online, know that your email might be there for 2 weeks. Okay? So you understand their lifestyle to know whether they're the best person to do this thing. But from day one on campus, start having a good relationship with them, because there are people that will call me and I will never write a reference. Never. Do you know why? I don't know you. You can't just say, hey, boss, sir, you taught me Bio 225. I may teach you 225. Reference letter means I must write about your character and your intelligence. I don't know you. If I don't know you, I'm not going to put my name there. Okay? So start building good relationships with your lecturer so that tomorrow, when you call, they will not say, who is this? They will say, what do you do now? That will be the conversation. So that's my answer to that. I can't remember. Okay.
I don't know if I didn't see that.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to ask a recommendation on a tip that I use. I wanted to know what you think. So, because I know that some referees that may know me may not be great at writing letters, I always kind of interview, or how do I put it now? I give them a trial. So I know that there are scholarships that require that you upload it, like you as the applicant upload it yourself, while there are some that require the referee to upload it themselves. So before I use any referee, I tell them I want to apply for something that I am the one who needs to upload it myself, and then I tell them to give me a reference letter. Because if I have not seen the reference letter you wrote for me, I will not use it. That's what I use as a CV mechanism. So there are some people who have written great things for me about how I'm in the top 1% of students they have taught all through their journey, and still I just felt like the content was not robust enough. So I would pick another one that tells a better story. Would you advise Futurians to also do that?
That is a wise approach, I would say, but I never did that. But that's a wise approach. However, depending on the kind of application that you find, if the application you see is the type that says just put the email, the name, and this, then you can't try that. So it also depends on the kind of application that you just meet at a time. So if someone's first application is you are not uploading, but give us the name, give us the mobile line and the email, we will contact. That means that approach can work in that case. But in my own case, I've never had an issue with any of my referees. And I think it's because I know how to pick a referee and I don't know how to teach it. I don't really know how to teach it. Don't you know how to pick people? Like just by looking at someone's work, the way they carry themselves, the way they behave, you know that when this person writes, this person will write fire. You would know. I don't know how to explain it, but I used to know. Some people can teach me, but I know that there are 3 of them that I'm going to ask to write me a reference letter. And most of the time, they will write it well. They will send a copy to me, and I will love it. So I don't know how I'm going to teach you to find by looking at their behavior, lifestyle. Like me, I look at a lot of things. Lifestyle, currency. There is a way you speak that I would know you are current. So you like, and command of English. I must add that. Sorry, I'm so sorry. But command of English. There are, see, your command of English must be great. I will know that you will write me fantastic stuff. And I will not even ask you that, please, sir, can I see it? Because I think that is rude. I think that is rude because they need to be able to decide whether they want to show you or not. So I won't say anything, but because of my relationship with them, they just say, Jide, I've done it. So this is a copy. And most of the time, when I see it, I'm always going, ha, Emi ni cotton, Oluwa, you know, and I end up winning. So, but I like your style because it's almost like a checkpoint. You have a checkpoint to see things to be sure. I think they should use yours. But again, it also depends on the nature of the application. You know, as I said, it also depends on the nature of the application. So that's it.
Let me try to come in very briefly in this place. This recommendation letter is quite evolving. To in those years, it used to be like a professor writes something for you. These days, they just ask, they send a link to the professor, and they put a lot of things: character, education, blah blah blah, knowledge, research skills, and that grade will be out of 5. So they will ask the recommender to grade out of 5. Probably you just tick. In fact, the recommender did not need to write any story for you. That is quite, especially with this master's scholarship in Europe, it is quite common these days.
Yeah.
I was privy to one. There is a particular scholarship like that, food identity. Unluckily for me, or probably let me put it that way, the professor mistakenly sent it to me. He thought he will send it to me and he will have to upload himself, not knowing that he doesn't even need to send to me at all. And out of all these keys, the professor was just grading me 4 out of 5. Maybe that is fair to him, actually. I wouldn't know. But there is this thing about this scholarship. They are looking for the best, for God's sake. There is no, I didn't win that scholarship, actually. But there is no way somebody will be grading you 4 out of 5 for all these keys. Education 4 out of 5, research skill 4 out of 5. All these, like, the skills are up to 10, and it's just grading you 4 out of 5. Some professors are like that. I've seen a professor who wrote, in fact, it was the one who asked me to write a recommendation letter. He said, "Buddy, go and write it yourself." After writing it for myself, then I put something that is it. Those days is common with top 5% or top 5%. So I think I wrote either top 5% or top 10%. And professor was like, Badu, you are not top 5% of my student. I have taught. We have to edit this from this profile. We have to edit this. Maybe you can change it to top 15%, which, to be very sincere, he may be right. I am seriously, to be very sincere with ourselves, there's no way I can be top 2% of the profs. Like I mentioned earlier, I finished with 3.95. No way anybody who graduated with such CGPA will be top 5% of any professor. So some professors are like that. They are very rigid, very, very rigid. They will say it as it is. The professor grading me 4 out of 5 for every skills, that may be the true nature of what I graduated with or what he knows me with. But in the scholarship realm, you are competing with people with very wicked CGPA. These Indians and Pakistan people, if you see their CGPA, 99%, because sometimes they use percentage, 99%, 99 point something percent, and you are coming with 80 something, and your recommender is still giving you 4 out of 5 for. No way you will win that scholarship. No way. So, like Doctor is saying, I think you must be like, put your eyes on the ground and see flexible people also. Flexible people who can be flexible and know that, well, maybe truly you have 4 out of 5. Truly you have 4 out of 5. But if it's doing this recommendation letter for you, if you want to help you or assist you to grant this scholarship, there is no way that is going to take you anywhere. So look to the ground, look for flexible lecturers, people you know are flexible and want, and probably they are not that very, 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 very rigid. That's why doctor is talking about relationship. Even if you had 3.5, somebody can still grade you 5, even in your education. perhaps that is how he perceives you, that is what he thinks you are worth. So look for people who are very current. Just like I say, if you are not current, the person will be using the true nature of what he knows you with. Yeah, it is 4/5, it is 3/5. There is nothing you can do about it. So that current is very, very, very important. Very, very important, because most of this scholarship these days, it doesn't have to do with writing 500 words recommendation letter. They don't want to stress recommenders again. They just send some things and ask the recommender to just grade. So if you are looking for professor of 10, 20 years experience, I know this Baba, they will say it as it is. No way, don't worry about it.
Let me say something quickly before we drop the issue of reference. Now, reference is very important, and that's why we spent some time on it. Badu, to be honest, if someone just calls you 55555 it looks fake. That's the truth. It looks fake. Okay, so they have to also be honest. That's why they're asking you to bring a reference letter from a credible personality, because that person is not going to write something that is not, just because they want you to win. So even if they write 55555, they will look at your transcripts to confirm what these things are. Somebody graduated with 3.5. Most of our grades are C. Then one of the factors they say they should grade is intelligence in relation to peers. Then you put 5, top 1 to 2%. That's a lie. That's a lie. Let's say the truth. How is it top 2% when you are having CCC in your transcript? These people are not stupid, though. They've been assessing documents for 25 years. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is there has to be a balance. It is possible that at the point of intellect, the person might be in top 20%, but at the point of leadership, you should put 5. Do you understand? At the end of the day, it will be 5.4, 5.54, 5.3, 5.54. When they see a score like that, scores like that, it looks real. It looks like an assessment, not just that I just a dash person, 5.55. It looks fake. And no professor with their credibility would do that with their name on top. Even the assessments I said that they sent to me, and I'm like, wow, they never gave me 5 all through. But I still won. They were honest. But so the truth of the matter is this: they will still confirm, the scholarship people will still confirm anything the professor says. So if the professor is giving you 5.55, and they look at, but they are giving you 5 for intellect, for this one for research. 5 is research, but your project work, you had a C. How? Do you see why they can't lie? Because they can. It's going to show. Your project work, you had a C, but research potential, they are giving you 5. How? So that's why I'm saying they still have to be honest, but you will know the person that is trying to help you. There's a way they will write, because there's a last point that they will say, if you were to recommend, would you recommend this person? They will now scale it. They will say, strongly recommend. Recommend. Don't recommend. So there is a way, even with all of this, you can still say strongly recommend. They will now open a box. We are right. That is where that man would say that, look, yes, he might have some things to struggle in his research, but I'm sure if he was my student, I would still supervise him for masters and PhD. Why? Because he's a leader. He has the passion. He has the this. So there are other ways they can use to put you out there, but they don't have to lie. That's just what I wanted you to know. Okay. Professor Father Miro, many of us might know him here because he's active on FUTA. He finished from biology. He wrote many of my references. He is an alumni. He works as a professor in the United States. Father Miro wrote my references many times. And you need to see how this man writes my references. Amazing. Okay, so there are lecturers and people that will write you good. There's no issue, but don't expect anybody to lie about the profile. So that's my submission. There was a question, Dayo, that you wanted me to answer, but I can't recall the first part of the question. It's the second part I know, where the guy was saying, what should he be doing while he's waiting? But I didn't get the first part of the question. Dario, are you still with us?
Yeah. I think his connection just lost for a brief time, but he will join us very
Oh,
soon.
okay.
But I think it's
Okay, yes,
Michael.
it was
Michael,
you. It was Michael. Yes.
Yes, I have the question.
Sorry, what was the question again? The first one.
Yeah, I said, how can you attract a mentor in your scholarship application journey? Because one thing I've noticed in my application journey is most of the time, I write my SOP, just send to some friends, and I feel like I'm not giving the best. So, how can you attract a mentor, someone that has been in this journey before? Thank you.
Well, to attract a mentor is not. See, okay, now the truth of the matter is cold emailing is the best way to attract them, to get their attention. And there's a way you do cold emailing. Okay, it's one of the things I'm doing on the training that Musa is on. Okay, I'm training them on how to write a cold email to a professor, because some people don't know how to write a cold email. They just write an email and they won't get a reply. So the best thing is, so let me just tell you how. First, you introduce yourself, you tell the professor what you are doing currently. The second paragraph, you talk about yourself. What have you done so far? And the third paragraph is about the professor. So mention what attracted you to him. Mention, okay, so I saw one of your papers on this, and you must read that paper. Don't go and be just quoting title and say, I saw your paper on this, I think it is good. That is very lazy, intellectual laziness. What I want you to do is to take that paper, download it, read it, digest it, understand what he did, the methodology, and the result and discussion, his conclusion. Then come out and tell him, I like the fact that you employed this approach in your work. And so this approach is so good because it will help us to do this and do that and do that. That's why I'm interested in your style of work and I want to come to your lab. You know, he will reply you because he sees that you took some effort to read that paper. He'll reply you. But if you're just writing very lax email, I am this, I'm this, I saw your work on this, I want you to supervise me, he's not going to respond. But you take one of his most recent achievements. Look, put yourself in their shoes. Okay, look at me now. Somebody just wrote me email and just saying, sir, I see that you are doing a lot of work. I want you to come and mentor me. I may not even respond. But let that person say, sir, I've been following your work for so long. I saw that that the BBC did one interview on you recently. I also saw that you won something. The Commonwealth wrote a piece on you too some months ago. I will be telling myself that this guy, he knows me, he's following my work. I am very likely to respond. It's almost like you are rubbing somebody's head in order to to ginger them to respond. That's the technique. And the moment the person starts responding, that's all. Because it shows that they are interested in you. The next thing might be, I like your CV, I like your work. Can we do a Zoom call just to know what you've done? When you do the Zoom call, it's a conversation. It's not an interview. It's a conversation. So just be calm. Explain the things you've done. Once the person starts liking you, the rest is simple. But I will tell you, the first thing first is writing cold emails. There are other alternatives, which is to track them via social media platforms. Some are active on Twitter. You can write them inbox. The message you should have sent to the email, just send it to their inbox. If they are active online, they will see it and they can say, that's interesting. Okay, fine. Okay, share this one with me and that one with me. Some are active online and don't mind you engaging them like that. Some, it's LinkedIn. So the most important thing is know how to write. I used to tell people, the first skill in life that will save your life is communication skill. If you don't know how to communicate orally, you put yourself in trouble. Written, you don't know how to write, you will send a stupid email. Go and learn communication skills. That is oral skills and written skills. Number one. Second to that is social skills. You don't know how to make friends, especially with senior colleagues. Making friends with your peers is easy. You call yourself names. Fish. You can't do that with a senior colleague. Do you know how to sustain long-term relationship with a professor? That's the question. Many of you don't know. And that's why you don't even know how to preserve those relationships. Okay, they're not your friends. They're not your friends. Don't ever get it mixed up. Just because they are close to you doesn't mean they're your friends. They're not your friends. So don't ever ask them, have you eaten? Are you okay? You want to tell the professor, have you eaten? So you should understand the culture of how things are done in your place, and when you know all of this, you know exactly how to manage relationships of different professors from different races. You know what is expected of them, and you know how to manage them, so that when you need them, just a simple message and they will do whatever you want. Today I'm enjoying that. I have a long list of professors I can write, doctors, MD, CEOs that I can write to support me for something, and instantly they'll respond. And that's because of the way I have nurtured the relationships over time. So in your own case, cold email, but learn how to communicate first. So that's my answer. Communication etiquette. Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I like the fact that the issue about recommendation letter is not stopping soon. It is still the most questions people are asking on the chat room. Sheunla, very quickly, still on the recommendation, I would like to ask you this question from one of our responders. He asked that, is it advisable to choose recommenders outside your department or faculty? Oluwaseunla, is there a time you have used somebody outside of your department or faculty? What advice do you have for this person? And also, the second question related to that is there any advice that you have for students that are graduated already, but during their undergraduate days, they are not close to any of their lecturers? What do you think such people can do?
Hmm.
Is it two-in-one questions? Outside your faculty, and people are not close to their lecturers during their undergraduate days. Still on the recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, so first thing I would say is when you're applying for for any kind of scholarship, again, there are certain things they want to see. So, for example, if you needed a reference for something like a leadership scholarship, like Chevening, for example, they need people who talk about your leadership skills, not just your academic things. So, for that kind of stuff, if you had like a person who is a lecturer, but you did stuff that is leadership volunteering related, you can use those people. I've used someone in student affairs, for example, as a reference. I've used someone in GNS as a reference. Why? She was the lecturer in charge of the Futa Debate Club. I was the president of the Futa Debate Club. What I was applying for was leadership related, so she gave me a reference for that. She was outside my faculty. It made sense. So, in summary, depending on what you're applying for. However, there are certain scholarships that will tell you we want to see two reference letters. At least one should be academic. So maybe the second one, you can now decide to use someone outside. But the person must be able to speak about you. For example, the person can be like, oh, um, hi, I'm a professor. And the person's profile is like professor in, let's say, environmental, and says, "Oh, Oluwaseunla has been my mentee since she got into the university. I mentored her and I coached her in preparation for all her in during her studies, even in her choice of her research area. This person now is not saying he supervised me, but he said he was a mentor. So these are ways. It just depends on, like I said, what you're applying for. But importantly, you should have at least one that is from your department, from your area. You may have another one that is maybe in your faculty, but not your department. But the person must be able to talk about those things. Maybe I have someone from AG. I did some courses in AG. I did a project in AG. The person was really found out, okay, this girl is a very reasonable person, and we ended up like having a good relationship. That person has referenced me. I'm not in AG. I didn't finish from AG. I finished from MetaMath. So this can happen depending on, like I said, what you are applying for. But make sure you have, my advice to you is have two references that are from your field, maybe department or faculty, have two. Then you can have others, even from work, you can have from other areas, you can have. And then the next question, I can't remember. You're on mute.
Sorry, the second question is, you are not close to any of your lecturers while you are an undergraduate student. Now
Aha.
you want to start applying for scholarship. What is your advice to such person?
So this is where my story would matter. So when I was in school, right, I was one of those who was, in quotes, brilliant easily. I didn't really read so much. I was doing a lot of things. Like, think for you, for someone to decide to contest for student union president, being the only girl, possibly the only who has ever contested with other contenders, the only person in the history of the school, you know that I was very deeply rooted in politics. I was doing it from 100 level. So I had a lot of teachers who saw me as, you're not serious, you understand? And so let me say, I didn't have that great relationship, but because I was easily, I'll say easily brilliant at the time, and I had like a 4 point something. I think I always had a 4 point something, and then even in the final year, I had like I had 5 dots sometimes. 4 point. Like, I'm just saying, it came easy, and so that balanced it out. So even some professors who were really upset about my involvement in politics, or is it always traveling? I'll travel for debate competitions to represent FUTA. How many times? Like, or I'm going for one leadership conference, one stuff for women in politics. I was always going up and down. In final year, I think I traveled like 8 to 10 times in between school sessions. So some supervisors didn't like that. But I want to let you know, there are certain supervisors that know you, even if you think you're not very close to them. The worst you can get is a no. You graduated already. You need a reference now. You need to ask people. The worst you can ever get is no, I'm not going to refer you. But until you ask them, you won't hear that no or yes. So my advice is, leverage on the things you have done. If let's say you did one group project and you discussed with one teacher, and one teacher really liked the way you presented, one small course in one stuff, think of that person. Your supervisor for your thesis, instead of maybe telling the person, I just want reference, you can tell the person, sir, I'm thinking maybe is it possible for us to write a publication from my bachelor's. My own supervisor, I didn't even ask him for reference, because I think towards the end, she wanted me to come and do a master's in FUTA, and he was always like encouraging me to do it. And I wasn't really interested at the time. And I think my friend started, but I did not. And my friend and I were like very close. Everyone knew us together. So it was like, Shola, you should also come. And I did not want to. So we didn't really gel that well, you know. At some point, he would even send me a message, this is the form, this is the link, and I would not. So I didn't ask him for it. But if I wanted to, I would start from an approach of maybe we should write a paper. Maybe I should write a paper based on the thesis and the project we worked on. So that can be your inlet towards your supervisor. So I'm just saying, don't just shut yourself out and say, oh, I had no relationship. There are some people who knew you. It's too late now to turn back and start, creating the relationships, but now you can start to align with those ones. So maybe contacting them, don't ask for recommendation right from the beginning. Contacting them, oh hi, I wanted to contact you and reach out to you, blah blah blah, I just wanted to greet you, I know you may not remember me. Then you start getting to know the person. Then the person, oh, I'm even thinking of doing master, so but I don't even know yet. Just call the person once in a while to greet them, and that you maybe a person can be giving you advice. Start doing those things. The person will know you. There's no student that no lecturer knows. If you are a bad student, they know you because you're bad. If you are a quiet student, they know why you're always quiet. If you are a Shonla, they know you because because you are like that. So don't let that stop you. You start with a step, and like I said, the worst you can get is a no.
Yeah, thank you so much for that beautiful answer. Adibola Oluwaseun.
Permit me
Okay.
to add something to what she said. Please, apologies that I continue to say add.
Very
Okay,
necessary.
so I'm happy that you contested only female to be FUTASU president. Fantastic. Congrats. Well done. Whether you won or you did not win, truth of the matter is that it's not easy for a school like FUTA for you to even try. A school where females always think their destiny is to become vice president. So take your flowers. The only thing is, I think when I was in 100 level, there was a Falano that was in my department. She's Mrs. Falano now. She is now an essay on gender issues to the governor of Ondo State. That woman was the one that I know because she was in my department. I was in 100 level. That I knew that she was in 500, or be she was in 300 when she contested to become the president. But somehow too, The Magomago, they did not let her win. But that spirit was still in her. Today, she's essay, gender issues too deep. I know her because we met at an event and we exchanged contact. Somehow, I'm preserving my relationship with her. Preserve relationship, whoa. You even will not hear now. The people on the call, I'm telling you now. Tomorrow now, if I'm doing something with the government, you say, hey, this is Dr. Macaulay. That's how it starts. I saw her at an event. I could sit down and be looking. But I said, I know this lady. I know her. That is some of you, your social skills, zero. If you have a problem with your social skills, mend it because it will help you in life. I could have sat down there and just be doing, I know her, but what's my own? Or I carry a notion. All these people, if you go and meet them now, they can be rude. They'll just insult you. I beg, I beg, I beg. What did I do? I said, no, what's the worst that will happen? According to what she just said. What's the worst that will happen? No, I don't like you or I don't know you. That's all. When I walked up to her, people were around her trying to get her contact. I shall get them there. And then when the opportunity opened, I knew that I needed to say something that will catch her attention. So I just said, biology futama. She just looked at me and said, it won't my mommy go. It won't my mommy. And I said, yes, ma. I was in 100 level when you contested to be president. That was the line I needed. She just held my hand to her car. The rest, she didn't care anymore. Okay, you must know the line, the opener that will catch attention. And that was it. And we had a good conversation and we exchanged cards. So I'm aware that she was the one who actually contested. I'm not sure if she's the first female,
No,
because
actually,
so much
she
has
was the
happened.
she was the first female, but in her time, all the other male candidates were disqualified by the school. So she ran unopposed. So when I ran,
it
there
is
were
true.
other contenders. So I was the first to
Okay.
run without contenders. But she's a
Shemunla,
lovely woman. She's one of my
you know
mentors.
the
That woman.
story
She ran
indeed.
for Ondo State governor. She ended up running for
Okay.
Ondo State governor before she became
Imagine
special.
imagine somebody that ran to be
She's marvelous.
Exactly. So so that was the first I want to say. And the second thing is the academic, non-academic referees. Spot on. Now there are times where they will tell you academic referees. An academic referee is anyone that has taught you before. Now that person could be in your department, it could be a borrowed course in another department. The fact that the person taught you, the person fits to be an academic referee, period. For example, I could pick somebody from BCH because I took a course called BCH 201. And then that person can write a reference. Because an academic referee must be able to talk about my intellectual prowess in relation to my peers. If that person has never taught me, please, what would the person say about that? You can't say anything about that. So it is non-academic that will now focus on my character content, the contents of my character, my work ethics. Those ones from my workplace can now write about this guy is a team player, his attitude to work is fantastic, you know, he meets deadlines easily. Those ones can write about my character, my work ethics. But your academic referee is the one that writes about your intelligence, your research potential. So understand that the two of them are not the same. So anytime you see an application and they tell you submit 3 referees, but they did not mention anything, just 3 referees, please follow Sheunla's rule because it's exactly my rule. 2 should be academic. The last one can now be non-academic. If they now say 2 referees, but they did not say anything, just 2 referees, you can make those 2 to be academic or make 1 academic and 1 non-academic. Never should you have everything non-academic. You are going to hurt your application because none of them will be competent enough to write about your intelligence or your research potential. So that's the additional thing I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I think Adegbola Oluwaseun is raising up his hand. Very quickly, can you ask your question, Oluwaseun? Go ahead, please. Oluwaseun, are you with us? Probably lost his connection. There is a question on the group chat. Zainab Alaron, she was asking very quickly, why do you think, she said, why writing a SOP or essay? there's a particular question that is always common. Why do you think you are worthy of this program? In her words, she said she easily forgets her thoughts, get overwhelmed to the extent that she doesn't have the right word to pen down or the proper arrangement of her thoughts. How can I overcome this? Oluwaseun, can you please quickly guide Miss Sign-up Alarm? I was laughing seeing the question
Is
myself.
it me you call Oluwaseun? Hey, Olongo.
Oluwaseunla,
So
Oluwaseunla,
you know how you
Oluwaseun.
should just call her correctly.
Yeah.
Please,
But anyways,
Oluwaseunla.
that's by the way.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
recently, Zainab, I applied for a scholarship in Canada. It's like the peak of the apex of the apex scholarships, and it was super crazy. And one of the things I had to do was fill a certain form where in summary I had to let them know why I am awesome. Because of this form, I had to start looking for things I had done and writing it because I had to talk about my history from like far back till now. And I realized that there was so much stuff that I have done that are not even on my CV. Like 5 years back, I had won something entrepreneurship wise. As at 2020, I did not even remember at all. So one of the first things I'll tell you that will help you is get a pen and a paper or online, not not your CV now. Write everything that you think you have done. If you are someone who takes pictures, go and check your Facebook, go and check your like, go back and see great things you have done. This now is for you, or not for whatever I apply for, just for you. Great things that you have done. There are certain things that have impact that you don't think it does. Write all of it down. Even if it's class rep, for example, class rep is small. It's important to write it down. Let's say it's you represented your department for something and you want something, write it down. All of this is for you so that you have an idea of where you're coming from and you have an idea of how awesome you are. Now, second level, understand that other people that are applying for this stuff, there are some things that they have done that are not as great as you. For example, I was governor of what they call that, student governor for engineering. The students there were more than 400. In summary, I was representing over 400 students. Do you know that some people who are like maybe in Canada, for example, their class is like 20 students, and that's where their class rep for. And the way they talk about their class rep, you'd be like, wow, this person is a leader. Yet someone who maybe have led 400 people, I may not talk about it the same way. So I want you to understand that there are many things that you do that is great. You just may not see it like that, which is why it's important to write them down so that you look at it and then know how to package it when you're selling yourself. Now, when you now have a point where you are being asked why you deserve something, connect it to your past and your present. Connect it to, so previously in my past, this is what I have done. These are the kind of grades I have gotten. These are the kind of awards I have won. These are the kind of research I've contributed to. These are the kind of things I have done in the past. And so I think that if I get this, I will be able to do this. So you're in the middle is why do you deserve this, right? You talk about how great you have been in the past, showing how I will also be great in the future. Do you get? Like that is how you would need to make that connection. You understand? So like write your things down, have it in your mind, learn how to talk about it in a great way. For example, I was class governor from 100 level to 500 level to from when I was in 100 level to 500 level, I was the class governor, like the class representative for over 400 students. And during this time, I was responsible for doing this. At the end, I would say that in as that kind of role helped me to learn leadership, helped me to learn communication, helped me to know how to blah blah blah. I'm talked about the same thing, but different ways. The way you package it will give you strength. So write it down, learn to package it. And when you're told to share about why you are worthy of the program, share about great things you've done. Because see, you have done great things. If you sit down to write it, you will know that you've done great things. I'm sure someone like Buddy you would get when you're applying for stuff. You just when you start sitting down, you're like, oh, me too. I've done things, so that's how it is. But if you don't write it down, you won't know how many will you remember, how many you learn to package. Do that. If you can get this SM, I think it's smart. There's this thing they say where you can pitch yourself. One pitch, you see it online, pitching yourself, I think with Smart, where you talk about what you've done, the impact and all of those things. I can't remember the name, but it is an acronym. You can go and check about it. It tell you how to link your stuff together, like your impact statement. I think it will help too.
Electrodi, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm enjoying that. Thank you very much, Oluwaseun. God bless you. Thank you so much. I think we've exhausted all the questions. Agbola Oluwaseun. My question is about code milling. Some of the professors, okay, I get what you mean. So I think for code milling, I don't know if I would like to ask Shion and Powerful. Have you got like some like a summary of like a resources they can share with people? Is that possible?
So I advise people to follow key people on the internet. A lot of people have free information already. Some people ask for you to pay for stuff. For example, like Waka Waka Doctor has things that you pay for. I wouldn't do the stuff to pay for because when I was there, I didn't have that kind of money. So I would advise you to take advantage of the free content. People like Dr. Muyiwa, they have things you pay for, but they also have a lot of free information. Use the free information. Where I am today, I did not have to pay anyone for anything. In particular, I didn't have the money. You understand? If you have the money, go for it. I didn't have the money. So they have free information. Dr. Muyiwa on Twitter, look for Dr. Muyiwa on Twitter. He has details about cold emailing. He has details about writing your SOP. He has details about like several. He has a lot of things. Free information. Take it.
I'll meet our own Dr. Milton too for anything.
No. The reason why we have Dr. Milton here. He's on LinkedIn. Like he has like a platform where he posts different content. If you check his LinkedIn, guys, the link was on the income messages. You will see useful information. So like go there, search for it and find. The reason why I mentioned those other two people is because they also have videos and a lot of people use that. I don't have videos like that. I think I'm not sure, but did you have videos?
Not at all. I just post randomly on my
Because I don't have
Twitter. I just post
videos.
randomly
I don't
on my
have a
Twitter
blog.
as the spirit lead me.
See, follow these people on Twitter. You know, not a few weeks ago, Dr. Milton still posted a link there, a post about someone winning a certain scholarship. Sometimes he's just posting about how someone won a scholarship, but in between that post, you see key information that you can take advantage of. Follow people with Sabi Road. If you follow these people, you see key information. That's one of the things I would advise. Follow people who know these things, and they will always give you free information. And when they also have paid services that you can take advantage of, please, if you can, if you have the fees, the money for it, take advantage of all these things. At the end, you are helping yourself. You are building your profile, which is like, I think, the most important aspect of this video. A lot of you have your history academic wise. You may not be able to change some of those things. What you can change is things in the future, and that's your profile.
Wow. Thank you very much for that response. And thank you for the time. I know what time is, honestly. I'm doing many things at the same time at the moment. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I don't want us to disregard Oluwaseun. Oluwaseun Adegbola question is even a little bit more. There's a question he asked that I think Doctor can help us with. Because why code mailing? You will want to check some professors' paper to be able to read what they have done in the past. So Dr. Macaulay, sir, this person is asking, some of the professor full paper aren't available on Google Scholar. Is asking if there is a way somebody can download this paper and read. I think you can guide us better on that, sir. How they can read.
Okay,
Because,
so first, I want to give Sheunla her flowers for that marketing that she just did for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now, on a serious note, Muyiwa is my friend. Okay, so he runs Scholarship Cafe that you can always watch on YouTube. So please follow him. Me, I'm the type that competition is old school. Now it's collaboration. Okay, that's the word. So me, I used to preach about my friends. So follow Muyiwa. The guy is fantastic. Even when they nominated us for an award in December. The four of us were on one award like that, and he won it. I gave him his flowers because Baba na champion. On Twitter, he's a god. Okay, so please follow him. He knows a whole lot. So back to the question. Now, I don't know how good some of you are, but the abstract, for somebody like me, an abstract is enough for me to understand what has happened in the paper. Because an abstract is a summary of everything. I will see what was done, I will see the technique done, it has the methodology, it has also the results and the outcome, the conclusion. So just by reading the abstract, somebody like me, that I'm a trained academic, I will understand. But you might struggle. You might want to see how everything was broken down. So one way to do that is send a message to your friends that are in schools abroad. Say, I beg, download this paper for me. I do that a lot. I beg, help me. And they just they send it down to me. I do that a lot. Please help me download. In fact, I can give them like 10 papers. Help me. They'll download and send it to me via email. But one easy peasy way, if I don't want to stress, is I just read the abstract, because you always have access to the abstract. It is when you want to read the entire paper that they will ask you to pay, or they will tell you something is wrong. So, but if you know how to read an abstract, it's enough. The abstract will tell you what the paper is about, on the justification for the study. It goes straight to the methodology that was used. It goes straight to the results and discussion and the conclusion, and even the novelty of the work. The entire thing is captured in your abstract of about 350 words. So you don't necessarily need to see the entire paper to understand what that man has done in that work. Okay, but again, if you must access the whole paper, then I suggest talk to your friends that are already doing stops abroad. Please help me download this paper and send it to me via email. Thank you so much for sharing Muyiwa's. Yes, that is Muyiwa. He's doing so well. So yeah, so that's it from me. Except any other person on the call, my speakers want to add some things to that.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, sir, for that expressive analysis and breakdown. Thank you very much, Oluwaseunla. Thank you very much, Badu, for your time. I do appreciate. So at this time, I think we have to draw the curtain until next time. Because if we allow, people are still trying to enter the group now, but it's getting too late. I cannot admit anybody in.
Sorry, can I just quickly say something to someone? Oluwatomisin Omotosho, just 2 minutes. So Oluwatomisin, if you are
for orderliness, but if you can,
this call is now
just
being
raise up
recorded.
your hand and I will